what's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" It doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. One more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014
2014.
and 2014.
2014?
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversations, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken the ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what
Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
it. From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't
very
have. You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
of
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What do you think
You're
about-
gambling with
what do you think
World
about-
War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I
You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
allowed.
in this cabinet.
We gave you through
I
this
said
stupid
thank-
president $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if,
West
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course,
It's
yes.
going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
And
tell you.
to say thank you,
I said a lot of
except
times
that there,
thank you
except
to
that,
American people.
except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very
I understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you,
You're running low
I
on
know.
soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't play
you're
it,
running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you
I
say you
said-
don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire.
guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
Doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
But this
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama who gave you sheets and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. Sorry,
It's going to be a tough deal to make
um,
because the attitudes have to change.
what if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
What if
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
But they have
Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if he can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. We'll see, I don't know.
All right, guys, come on. Please. Hey, come on. Guys, come on. Let's move,
Wow. Just wow. That was something. I want to go straight to our chief White House correspondent, Caitlin Collins, who was in the Oval Office, as we heard before we saw the tape, and CNN chief international anchor, Christian Amanpour. Caitlin, I want to start with, look at her face. I mean, Christian, hold that thought for once. Okay, actually, Christian, please, take it away.
Never in the history of modern diplomacy, war, peace, whatever, have I ever seen anything like it. We just have to hope that for the safety of the free world and for the American people, for the European people, for the Ukrainian people, that these two presidents get out of breath and try to iron out their differences. This was an entirely personal go-to with so many mistruths and misfacts. J.D. Vance, who once said about Ukraine, I don't really care about whatever happens to Ukraine, says to Zelenskyy, who spent a long time for what?
Christian,
it's impossible to understand what's happened next. The only person here from this is President Putin.
Yes.
And beyond that, President.
Yes, Christian, your audio is breaking up a little bit. We definitely got the gist of what you were saying. And Caitlin, I do want to, because there were a lot of things that were just not true, aside from just the tone and tenor and the monumental, historic, not in a good way, historic event that we just saw in the Oval Office. Caitlin, it really did seem to devolve when the vice president said to Zelenskyy, we just want diplomacy. And what Zelenskyy was trying to do was say, we had that. We had a deal with Russia. We had an agreement, the Minsk agreement, and Russia didn't abide by it. So I want some guarantees that that won't happen again. And then it devolved in a way that is really, really remarkable. The screaming, I mean, you have been with Donald Trump a lot. We have seen and heard about Trump getting upset and losing his temper. I think this is probably the first time we have seen it like this on camera. We also should say, Caitlin, that let's just be clear. I'm not saying that there wasn't genuine anger here, but he understands when the television cameras are there, as does J.D. Vance, and we can't lose sight of the performance aspect of this.
It was incredibly genuine, though. I mean, J.D. Vance said that this shouldn't be litigated in front of the press. Trump said, actually, no, it should be. I'm glad that this is happening. And, you know, the way that this built, just to give context of the 40 minutes that happened before what you just watched, the most remarkable part of this interaction was there were moments where President Zelenskyy would do what we saw the other European leaders do this week, where they step in to correct either on aid to Ukraine or to talk about Putin and the fact that he can't be trusted. At one point, Zelenskyy called him a killer and saying that there should be no compromises with him. And the U.S. officials were sitting there just kind of listening to this. And it was at that point, though, where Vice President Vance stepped in. Trump was silent at the beginning of that, and then Trump also got involved. And then they were just essentially yelling at one another in this. And with Trump, all of his diplomacy, we know, is personal. That's why the world leaders who have come here this week have tried to flatter him to essentially get what they want when it comes to negotiating the end of this. And that was not what we just saw, the tack that Zelenskyy took here. He was, as Zelenskyy typically is, straightforward in his opinions and what is the reality on the ground. It was kind of chastising Vice President Vance for not having come to Ukraine. And at one point earlier, when Trump was asked if he would go to Ukraine, Zelenskyy was saying that was what he was going to ask Trump as well. He's been very, he's emphasized a lot that he thinks these U.S. officials need to be there. But to give you a sense of how this negotiation is going, right now they are meeting behind closed doors. They're supposed to come out for a press conference any minute now, and that's where they're signing that minerals agreement that they've been touting as a big first step here. There are real questions about what this looks like going forward, because you heard what President Trump said to me there at the end. I asked, can the two of you still go in a room and negotiate after what just happened? And he said, we'll see, essentially. And Dana, there was one moment where I looked around the room at the officials who were there. It's the top Ukrainian advisors, the Secretary of State to President Trump, the Treasury Secretary, Vice President Vance, obviously. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States had her head buried in her hands as this shouting match was going on between the three of them.
Yes, I saw you put that on social media. It is one of the many. There you go. We're putting it up on the screen now. That is the Ukrainian ambassador, as you said, and she, I mean, talk about her worst nightmare. She was literally watching it unfold before her eyes in the Oval Office of the White House. Dana Chalian, I want to go to you because so much of the kind of pre